Last year, in 2018, I went to Taos, New Mexico. And while I was there, I was introduced to PEMF. Now, I've studied electromagnetic healing for years, thought I knew everything about it. Um, in fact, I had used some other forms that were much higher, much more radical, to not extremely good results. So I came back from Taos and I started researching. I found Bryant Myers and iMRS. I looked at all of the other available devices in the United States. The iMRS provided what I needed to be able to use sawtooth wave. I understood that, and if you use a constant stream of pulsation, your body will get acclimated and you no longer will have the total benefits that you would have with the sawtooth waves. I understand that, and that's what the mat does. And it sets your body into perfect harmony for healing. But then for the specialized issues like kidney disease, renal failure, I'm in stage 3 renal failure, and when I get to 4, hopefully I never will with PEMF, I will be in dialysis. I don't want to do that. Most of us, I am assuming that if you have kidney failure, you go to a nephrologist and you meet him in the dialysis unit for your twice-a-year checkup or 4 times, whatever it is. And it's haunting to realize what unattended or without PEMF or something like this, what could happen in a very short period of time, because this disorder with advancing diabetes as well, and it's a progressive disease, so they say, and I'm trying to handle that as well with PEMF. But it's frightening, and I know how you feel. I know how you try to be joyful, you try to be grateful for every day, but yet you know that your systems are shutting down. In 2018, as I was coming home from Taos, I started having seizures, and they became pretty severe. I was taking a drug called valsartan, which is for high blood pressure. I'm on 5 different kinds of high blood medication, and now I'm on 4. And valsartan had a ingredient problem. It was a cancer-causing ingredient, and many people ended up with cancer from it. My body was fighting so hard that it rejected it into seizures, and so I went off of the valsartan, and I called Bryant Myers because I told him, Bryant, I've spent all this money and I'm having seizures, and is part of it because of the PEMF? And he assured me that no, this is exactly how we cure seizures with the PEMF machine. So I tiptoed into it again and realized that I was getting stronger and I wasn't having seizures. I did cut back on the iMRS, which balances the right and left side of the brain with blinking lights. I tried to use a sensible approach with it. So I was able to up my treatments. I do 3 times a day instead of 2, and I do 2, a probe session and then a pillow session. That's the square wave that really hits intensive healing. And I put it on my back for my kidney, and then I lay it across my front for my pancreas. I turn it up to the back and use it for liver and for heart. And I also have a carotid artery issue, and I use the probe for that. So it's been a year of treatment. I can prove how effective PEMF is with the iMRS system. I don't know the other, haven't used it. This is the one I'm going to be using. I have a blood pressure monitor or meter that has a printer, and it prints out all of my testing, so I can see every time I take my blood pressure what my diastolic is doing. And that was where I also had a problem. Diastolic is the second number of your blood pressure, and it is the pressure that it takes to push the blood back to the heart. So you've got your top number pushing blood through the arteries out of the heart, and then you've got to get it back in through the veins. And my diastolic had fallen, taken about 2 years to do it, but it had fallen to the high 30s, low 40s. So I contacted my nephrologist. He was the one who had prescribed the valsartan, and we discussed the fact that my diastolic was so terribly low. And his rendition was, and he's a very good doctor, he's a specialist and he's very good, but the medical field and the alternative often don't run side to side or don't complement each other. And in this case, I just kept using the PEMF machine, and my diastolic number, which the diagnosis was that my veins were stiff and that my red blood cells had clumped together until it was clogging my veins. And I knew that the study of PEMF was that the corpuscles, the small little veins underneath, that it actually separated the red blood cells. And when that happens, it moves to the veins and it separates it there. So from July of 2018, with a diastolic of in the low 40s, high 30s, my diastolic now today is in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And if I have a very high blood pressure, the top number, my second number will chase with it, and it'll go as high as 90. And that's a good thing, because if you've got all this blood coming out of the heart and it's not getting back to the heart, there's where you can have a brain bleed, you can have a stroke, you can have a heart attack. So, I mean, this is valuable information, and I have written proof. And the kidney relies upon a good blood flow. So back to the kidney again, because this is really an important organ. All of them are, but those of us with renal failure understand what that is. We can put on 10, 15 pounds in 2 or 3 days if the kidney starts to slow down and isn't eliminating fluid. We all know that have this diagnosis what that's like. So I'm just telling you, there's a light at the end of the rainbow. My diastolic is wonderful. Everything's coming under control. I look younger. I feel younger. And I just can't buy that I have a death sentence. I've outlived it by 10 years. I look to outlive it another 20 years. I have a lot to do yet, and I know you do too. So blessings to you. If I can help you in any way, contact Bryant Myers. Tell him you need to talk to S.J. Sutton, and he will get you in touch with me. But you're not alone. And kidney disease is serious, but there is help. Blessings to you.